Hey, and welcome back to the Love and Learn here on a Friday. And I'm really excited for this fall for us to kind of shift our focus a little bit from the Love and Learn that we did all of last year on our channel to Love, Learn, and Leadership as we get a chance to visit with building level leaders across our state. And I am elated to kick off this first episode with two friends from Westside, district I used to work in, and just two phenomenal building level leaders at Westside Middle School, Kim Eymann and Brian Stevens. And so Kim, Brian, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, and thanks for taking a little bit of time out of your day too. I'm sure the rhythms of being a middle schooler are never slow, right? Never boring. So thanks for whittling out a little bit of time to chat with us today. And so, Kim, will you kind of give us a little bit of your story and education? Like, how long have you been a principal at Westside Middle? And we'll do the same thing for Brian.
Yeah, I am starting my fourth year at Westside Middle School as the principal. Before that, I was 2 years as the assistant principal. And prior to coming to the middle school, I lived my life at Westside High School as a dean, a teacher, and a coach. So super thrilled to be here today. So thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks. There was a time where we were all in the classroom at Westside High School, which was really cool. So Brian, if you would.
Yeah, very similar path to Kim, actually. So I started up at Westside High School as a math teacher and a coach, transitioned to a dean of students there for a couple of years. And then this will be my fourth year here at Westside Middle School as the assistant principal.
Awesome. So and thanks. This inaugural episode here with this, and so I didn't really have an example to give either of you, and so I really appreciate you jumping in and just sharing out today. And truthfully, the reason that I wanted to have this focus shift to building level leadership is just because there's so much going on really over the last 2 years that has been challenging, that I'm sure has been kind of heavy, and I'm really excited for the opportunity to showcase all the great work that you all are doing and the great people that we have across the state in these roles that are supporting staff, that are supporting students, and doing great work on a weekly basis with that. And so, just really looking forward to it. So we're going to start off with our love for the week, where we will share one thing that you loved. That could be personal, that could be professional. And I would encourage folks listening in to leave your love in the comments section, and we can bring those through and share those out. And so, Kim, if you'd start us off, what did you love from this week?
Yeah, well, yesterday, actually, we did a school assembly with Smart Gen Society, and it kind of wrapped up our work with them. It is a nonprofit organization that works with people in our community on social media apps and that type of thing, and teaching. They came in and gave a little spiel to our teachers on how to help kids be responsible on social media. They came in and talked to parents during one of our curriculum nights. And then we wrapped it up this week with them speaking to all of our students. So it was super awesome. We really work hard to educate the whole child, not just in the classroom, but finding things that they need help with besides reading, math, and those types of things. And social media, as we all know, has become a huge presence in every kid's life. And so one of the things that I really loved about the presentation was they didn't come in and say, you need to get rid of it. It's how can you use it responsibly? How can you use it to help you be a better person and focus at school? And so it was really awesome to get somebody in here because of COVID. We haven't been able to do a lot of that. So it's exciting to do that. And then also, I think the kids really enjoyed it. They had a lot of questions at the end that made us really excited that they were at least thinking about the stuff that they shared and how they can brand themselves responsibly and how it can affect their future. So that was something that I was really excited about this week and happy how it turned out. And like I said, it was a 3-part thing, and we wrapped it up yesterday with all of our kids.
Gosh, I cannot even imagine. Whenever I was in middle school, I was just worried if I had like the cool T-shirt on or not, let alone like my brand and like my digital presence, and thinking about all that they have to consider at such a young age. That's really terrific that that Westside Middle had that opportunity for those students in that capacity. So that's awesome, and thing I could see absolutely loving from your week. Yeah. And speaking of love, the Nebraska Loves Public Schools account just said, hey, Yeah, I am wearing the shirt today, and loving that too on a Friday. Great t-shirts to wear, and a good reason to do it too. I would encourage people to continue to comment in the chat or leave it in the comment section. Brian, what was your love from this week?
Sure. Well, I'm going to piggyback off Kim first just a second. The Smart Gen Society, it was great getting them in and talking with students, but we got a ton of positive feedback from parents, just that they were not really aware of what Snapchat is, the capabilities it has. And so it really was an awesome presentation, and I would encourage other schools to get in touch with them and get them into their buildings. But for me, one thing that I love about this week, and it probably is every week, but it kind of hit home more this week, is just the opportunity to help people. We kind of sometimes get bogged down in everything's a task. Everything is, having to do something. But I really felt this week like I feel like I'm making a difference with people in terms of I'm helping teachers, whether it's organizing something in their room or with a student. I'm helping parents, navigate middle school, and maybe they just, haven't been here before and never seen, the kid in a building of 1,000 kids. And just, it's fun to have an opportunity to continually help people every day, whether it's students, staff, or parents. And so that's one thing that I've just really loved about this week. And like I said, probably every week, that's one thing that kind of stands out for me.
Gosh, and having been to Westside Middle School myself, you have 9 elementaries that feed into that. And so you have these students who had an interesting experience in the last year, 18 months. Now maybe settling in as a 7th grader and kind of getting in the rhythm of things. I'm sure they need support. Yeah, they need some help. And that's terrific to, and like you said, always have a heart for that, but especially, now as the school year is kicking off. And I'm going to play up that a little bit. My love for this week, also in the Westside District, I went to curriculum night last night. I got a chance to talk with, I have 2 kiddos. I have a 10-year-old and a 7-year-old, so 5th grade and 2nd grade. So I got a chance to reconnect with their teachers and learn more about what they were going through and seeing all the cool materials and things. They have some new math, which I know Brian would appreciate, that they're getting a chance to learn through kind of number talks and those things, and just really encouraging to learn about that. So kind of a love and a learn, but a love because it was really fun to talk with those teachers and hear how much they're enjoying being back and having students get back in the rhythms of things after the summer. So I'm going to take a second here to go and pivot now to the learn for this week and ask each of you to consider, what's one thing you learned? It's tough because as educators, we love learning. And so they can sometimes almost be one and the same. But Kim, what is something that you kind of keyed in on this week?
Well, I'm going to stretch it a little bit. Friday, we had a staff development day. And so we really try to focus on having our teachers learn within our building from other teachers. And sometimes that can be difficult with scheduling, and sometimes we don't have all of our subs filled, so people are filling in classrooms. So getting teachers into other classrooms can always be difficult. And so our staff development day on Friday, we kind of did some digital instructional rounds. And so we videotaped about 7 different classrooms and showed them to whole staff, and they got to do the instructional rounds and what we call our circle groups, and answer questions about what they saw that validates what they already do in their classroom, what's something they can take away, and any questions they had. And so I didn't really understand the impact that had until this week, and learned that a lot of teachers appreciated that because then they didn't have to give up a plan time to do that. And so, but they didn't realize how much they could learn from each other. I think some people are like, why do I need to go into another classroom? What could I possibly learn from, a staff member? And so it was really awesome this week to hear that how much staff learned from those and how much they appreciated that. And so I just think that I learned that we always have to continue to think outside the box and how we can help these teachers, especially in COVID times where a lot of people are gone and we need help filling, and we don't want to take away those planned times. We don't want to add any more time after school and meetings and that type of thing. So learning to find creative ways like we did to videotape and do some instructional rounds virtually, and during our staff development was really awesome.
Gosh, I love so much of that. Everything from the use of technology to the placing that importance on continuing to grow professionally, despite the circumstances of the present moment, as you're talking about. And I think too, whenever a staff member receives positive feedback from a peer about their instructional practices, I think that just helps culture, and it's just super encouraging for folks. If you think about how isolated we may have been, I feel like even common areas aren't as congregated with educators as much, like talking and sharing as they might have in the past. And so how encouraging to get some of that positive feedback too. And so that's terrific that you're finding ways to make that happen, even when it's challenging to think about what that might look like. And so Brian, what's something that you feel like and I do have a comment I'm gonna bring up here too, just because I'm a proud dad. Yep. Thank you, whoever posted that. I do feel really lucky that my kiddos are at Westside, and they're awesome most of the time. They do a pretty good job. So, but yeah, Brian, what's something that you learned from this week?
Sure. Something I learned, I think, is you just can't be complacent. And kind of it goes off what Kim was saying, just about thinking outside the box. We're in our 4th year here as an admin team. I think we came into the year thinking we had a really good beat on what our culture is and, where we want to be and where we want to go. We have a rock star staff. Our staff is absolutely amazing. But, we learned this week that there's still a lot of little areas that we need to keep making improvement. And so it's really easy to think, all right, things are moving along and things are fine. But you can't have that mentality. And that's one thing that I kind of was thinking a lot about this week is, just you have to constantly be improving, trying to re-energize and keep people moving in the same direction and going on the same path.
Gosh, what would you say are some ways that you think about doing that? I guess not to put you on the spot too much with it. I agree with you that it's probably instant to instant as you're walking around, but maybe even in other capacities as well. So yeah, what would you say?
Yeah, I mean, number one is having those one-on-one conversations. I mean, Kim and I are frequently trying to be in the building, being visible, being approachable, so we can, figure out if there are issues, what they are, and where they're coming from. But then it's really a team mentality. So if we realize, something maybe isn't going right, we collect as an admin group. We talk with our design team, which is a group of teachers we have in our building that kind of represents all sorts of different areas and content areas. And we kind of come with a focus on how we're going to proceed with, this change or that change or issue that we maybe had come up. So it's really a collaborative environment is honestly the best approach.
Gosh, I love that. And I'm going to kind of feed in, I think, with my learn here too, into both of them. Valuing PD, getting it, like you said, thinking outside of the box, which was what you brought up there a second ago, and also like bringing people together. Something that I've been learning a lot about how much goes into like putting this together. We started this initiative with the ESU CC called PD for Me, where we're putting together personalized professional development emails, but also like snail mail, kind of like Stitch Fix for education and stuff, where for free, teachers can just sign up for 3 months to receive professional development materials and swag on a topic of their choice. And we'll just send it to them. And it doesn't cost anything. There's no like kicker with it. We're just like trying to find ways to support, help people learn, grow in a time when it's not always easy to do that. And in this role, since I've kind of gotten a chance to visit with folks across the state a little bit more, I have noticed that there are times when people really care about something like gamification, but they're in Arthur, Nebraska, where there might not be someone else at their school that they feel like they can connect with about that topic. And so as a part of that initiative, we're going to have just sort of weekly meetups for that month that if people want to just hop on Zoom, I know we're Zoom fatigue for sure, but I do know that at least there'll be a space there for them to kind of nerd out and talk with other people about things that they might be interested in that'll help move their practices forward. And so this week's learn for me has been like, oh my gosh, do we have the stickers? We're like going to get some coffee and different things to send people, and like all the little pieces I'm learning about the process that goes into doing something like that has been pretty fun. So excited to share that out and see it sort of align with some of the things that I'm hearing from you all. as we kind of get to our third and final topic for today, leadership. And thinking about that from, 30,000 feet theory, maybe all the way down to, as you were, I think, alluding to a second ago, Brian, just, it's even in just the presence in the hallway and getting a chance to talk with teachers on a regular basis. And so, Kim, what would you say would you like to impart as a leadership message or something that you try to think about on a regular basis?
Yeah, there's like you said, so much that you could touch on. I think I go back to, we've done the Gallup strengths, and there's a reason why my Gallup strengths are the way that they are. And
what are they? Do you have a couple? Yeah.
I have woo, positivity, adaptability, communicator, and what's the one that, arranger. I haven't posted arranger. Yeah. But I think that communication, anytime you are in a leadership role, communicating is important. Teachers always want to have that transparency but communicating to them that there's a fine line of transparency and what, we don't want them to have information overload. And with that, I think it's really important to be authentic. Just to be honest, this week was a little rough. And so not pretending with teachers that it was not rough, like it was just rosy and peachy in my office. I don't know why it was rough in your classroom, but being authentic with them about that. And to go along with what Brian said, the reason how we can be authentic is we're out in the halls. We are experiencing things that they're experiencing. And so I just think whenever I have people ask, what are some things if I want to be in a leadership role, I think you have to have good communication skills. I think you have to be authentic and put yourself in their shoes as much as possible, and be flexible. Your day is never going to go as planned, unfortunately. So, but just being able to, be on the move and be able to switch from one thing to another and prioritize. I think when I got my admin degree, I know we did an activity they gave us a list of things that happened to a principal between 8 and 10 o'clock, and what would you do first? And so being able to figure out which one is most important and going through. And so having those skills, I think is super important. But bottom line is, I think being out and about, getting to know your staff, know where they're coming from. Brian and I and our other people on our administrative team split up PLCs, so we can always have administrator from our leadership team be in PLCs, so we can be in the trenches with them, helping things like that. So we can take what they're struggling with and be able to help them right away, rather than it festering and snowballing until we eventually find out about it. So I think I said a lot of different things right there. But those are the things that I think come to my mind when I think about leadership and what has worked best, I should say, in our building as well.
Gosh, and it's got to be tough to strike that balance between putting out the figurative fires of the present moment and staying committed to those things that I think most people would aspire to do, having a presence in the hallway, attending all the PLCs. But I'm sure on a day-to-day that gets pretty tough to manage kind of that back and forth. And along with, and it's great that your woo and positivity, are able to sort of ground you in that too. Would you agree? That's probably a nice thing to pair off of your communication style and right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And I think it's important to know that they, someone's concern is a huge concern to them. And so I have to respect that, but it might be low on my totem pole, but have that communication and understanding that, yes, work through a situation so they feel that their needs are being met in a timely manner as well.
Gosh, and then the empathy that comes with being able to prioritize not from your own list of things, but from other people's. That's really cool to think of. And that activity you talked about in your principalship courses, it sounds really cool. So Brian, what would you share as your leadership piece?
Sure. I think my number one piece of advice is just making sure you always follow through. It's really following through on doing what you say you're going to do, I think, is the quickest way to build trust and the quickest way to lose it if you don't. Whether that's with a student, with a parent, with a staff member, you have to make sure that if you say you're going to do something, it happens, and it happens in a timely manner. I always carry around a notepad with me no matter where I go, because a trip down the hallway, 2 teachers will say, "Hey, can you do this for me? Can you do this for me?" And if I don't write them down, I forget. And that it bugs me so much when somebody asks me to do something and then I completely forget about it, space it off, and it doesn't happen. So just finding a method to making sure you help yourself follow through on things, I think is extremely important. Whether that's sending yourself an email, sending yourself a text message, writing it down. I mean, whatever your method is to getting that done. But just making sure that you're always following through on the things that you say you're going to do.
Gosh, well, I think that's pretty incredible. It's got to be tough too. Like you said, sometimes some of that has to be kind of on the job training, I would imagine, where as you get into it, you develop those little tricks of the trade that help keep everything moving forward and keep you organized. And this is what we were hoping for with today's show, is just a chance to get a little window into the world at Westside Middle School and the pivotal role that the 2 of you, along with all the staff, play in creating a great experience for kiddos. I'm excited for my kids to get to a place where they get to attend Westside Middle School. And I'm just really grateful for your time, your leadership, and how much you love and care about this profession. And so thank you for that. We'll be back next week at the same time with a new set of guests. And we're looking forward to having these conversations throughout the fall with building level leaders from across the state. So Kim, Brian, thanks. And we'll see everybody next week.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks. Have a